right, I'm gonna make this quick, but I just found an estate sale showroom, which is basically where all the leftovers of the estate sale go. I'm so excited, and I was so excited to go today, but it turns out 80% off on the store. So hopefully we can find some good stuff. I'm looking for some furniture pieces, and it's packed here, so I'm gonna make this quick. But I'm gonna put the timestamp right here if you wanna fast forward right to the haul. But without further ado, let's go thrifting.
So I had a list of things that I needed to find, and this certainly wasn't on my list, but I was totally in love with it. I loved the hardware and the little keyholes. I thought it was perfect. Definitely wasn't on the list of things that I needed, but I wish it was. I also really liked this box too. I think it was labeled as an accordion storage box, but I thought it was really cool and unique. And this piece caught my eye too, and it might be because I've been looking for vintage china cabinets, but I really love this style. I don't know what it was, but everything down from the chunky wood to the old hardware sold me. Also, love this clock. Had it not been listed for $150, I might have been tempted. And nothing made me happier than stumbling across these vintage books. Now, if this was the sole reason that I went to this estate sale showroom, I would have been more than happy because I love my vintage books. Now honestly, this showroom had so many great pieces, and I kept on forgetting that it was 80% off, but even with that price tag, still a little sticker shocked. So it might have been because of the original price tags, but I ended up spending more time looking at the home decor than I actually did at the furniture. Oh, but when I found this mirror, I was really going back and forth on it. Originally, I picked it up to actually take it home with me, but last minute I decided to put it back because it didn't really go with what I had in mind for the main bedroom. And despite the fact that it was 80% off and packed, I feel like there was still a lot to look here, a lot to be seen. But for me, it didn't take long to find the pieces I love and then head on out.
I walked in for furniture, I walked out with home decor, as expected. But furniture-wise, I will say I was looking for coffee tables, end tables, and nightstands for myself. All the things that were there were not what I was going for, but our day is not done. I'm gonna go to one more place. I think I'm gonna head over to Goodwill. It is not on the way, but that is okay because, yeah, maybe we'll find some good stuff there.
So a wrong turn led me down the wrong road, but I figured to make most of it, I would just stop in to see what they had. First thing I noticed was this desk. It needed some work, but was only $45. Same thing with this dresser, also $45. Another desk, and you guessed it, $45. Truly all fair prices. I just thought it was kind of funny. It reminded me of high school when you would just circle C when you didn't know the answer. And definitely not in need of a headboard, but still actively looking. And so I decided to take a look at what they had, but inventory-wise, it just wasn't what I was looking for. Also, love this dresser. It is such a shame that the hardware wasn't there. Speaking of hardware though, this dresser caught my eye mainly because of the hardware. Never seen anything like it. But after that pit stop, we finally made it to Goodwill. Not the place to find furniture, but I was perfectly fine with that. So older artwork is something I've been looking out for, and this one looked like it was a vintage piece. I looked at the back of it, and it turns out it was a rather old piece, although I don't know how old, and probably worth the price, but I decided to leave it behind. And this bowl was such a unique find. It was two different types of materials, and the style reminded me a lot of the things that I see at like TJ Maxx and Home Goods. And probably the most adorable vintage style canisters I have ever come across in my lifetime. They honestly look like such fun pieces to display in your home. And out of the blue, I found this frame on the bottom shelf. Now, I'm always thrifting frames, and a 16 by 20 is a great size to have for that price. So it was a definite yes. And with all the vintage books that I'm thrifting, bookends are starting to become my kryptonite. I actually thought they were really beautiful, really eye-catching, but I just didn't want to pay $17 for them. And I absolutely love the design on this small mirror right here. Now, I probably would have picked it up, but I am saving wall space for something that I can't live without. And although missing a few pieces, I really thought this was still a beautiful handcrafted piece. And this was an interesting piece. I thought it was just a simple storage box. It's actually a wall shelf, but I figured I could repurpose it into something that's more my style. And this piece caught my eye solely because of the shape. I absolutely loved it. Another great stone piece that I think would be a good fit for my home. And I could tell by looking at this is indeed a vintage bottle. Now, I noticed a lot of vintage items around the store this particular day, so I was thinking that maybe they were actually from the same donation pile. And I'm only guessing, but I'm assuming that this one was from the same donation pile too. So I spent a good portion of the day at Goodwill, and it might have been because I didn't have such luck finding furniture items that I desperately needed, but I figured it's okay. Sometimes it just takes time to find the right piece.
So I'm all finished. At first, I really thought I wasn't going to find anything there. Maybe it was because I went to the last place and didn't find anything. Then I walked in and really felt like, oh, this is not going to be good either. But out of nowhere, things just started popping up. So I guess I just wasn't looking hard enough. So I think we spent a lot of time out. I think we're done for the day. So with that being said, it's thrift haul time. Okay, so first up is a whole pile of vintage books. Now, to spare you from like more than 10 minutes of talking, I'm just gonna kind of group them together. I'll quickly go through them. But I found 3 of them at the estate sale showroom and 2 of them at Goodwill. My 2 favorites were actually the ones that I featured in the video that I saw. I just love the look of them together. This brown one is called Handy Andy. The hardcover of it is really beautiful. You can tell it's a very old book just by the pages. And this one is falling apart. I looked at the copyright of this book and then it made sense. So really happy with this one. The next one was also the one that was with it. This is called The Literature of England. Love the size of it. These pages are not like traditional book pages. They are a little bit thinner. Obviously it's worn and weathered. I really love that look though. Copyright was 1936. So again, a really good book. And obviously copyright doesn't mean that it was printed that same year. But if this is from 1936, I'd say it's in pretty good condition. So I'd say these were probably around a few dollars if I'm not mistaken. A few dollars for these kind of books I think are really good. So this one was also a literature book. It's called The History of English Literature. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the last book that I got at the showroom. But again, just a great book. Copyright was 1900. I don't know if it's that old though. I mean, if this was printed sometime around the early 1900s, I'd be very surprised. It's in very good condition if that's the case. And these last 2 books I got at Goodwill. So this one is called A Farewell to Arms. It's Hemingway. It has the rough edge pages, which I really love. And copyright for this one was 1929, but it does say that the renewal copyright was 1957. So I assume it was probably printed at that time or sometime after. And it's Ernest Hemingway, so that's pretty cool. Just a good grab. So $1.99 is all I paid for this. And the last one is called 100 Great Lives, which I kind of looked through this one, and it's basically talking about like the most influential, famous people of our time. So I thought it was really cool. Obviously, it looks really old too. The spine of it is falling apart a little bit. Unfortunately, I cannot find the copyright for this, but I think it's safe to say it's at least a vintage book. But this was the final vintage book that I found. $1.99 again. Great price in my opinion. Okay, next up is this art piece. So I really like the fact that it looked like a sketch, but I did grab this one because I actually have been looking for smaller art pieces to put in bookshelves. So I was standing in line at that point to kind of check out, and I just grabbed it where it was. So I didn't see the sticker price immediately. It wasn't until I was basically about to check out. If I saw this price when I first picked it up, I probably would have put it back. $80 just kind of shocked me, to be honest. But thankfully that is not what I paid for it. Again, all the items from the showroom were $19. So I thought this one was a good size. It's 11 by 14, so I figured it would be a great fit. I am happy about this one and really glad I didn't pay $80 for it. Okay, next up was actually this storage box, or what I thought was a storage box, but I turned it around and it appears to be kind of like a wall mounting shelf. So I thought that was really cool. I actually like the fact that it has 2 drawers. I thought it was just a really cute piece. To be honest, I probably won't mount this on the wall. So for me, this would be like a nice piece to have on a vanity table if you had one, or small things. Maybe like bobby pins, because I always lose my bobby pins. Style wise, I think that the 2 drawers and the tiny knobs just sold me. This one was a really good grab. It was only $3.99, which I thought was a pretty good price. So yeah, storage is always a good thing to have in my opinion. So things like this are really hard for me to pass up. Next up is this frame. Now it is no secret that I love to thrift frames, and this one is actually similar to a style that I already have. Now it's kind of giving me ideas of kind of like putting them together and doing a little bit of a gallery wall. Love the color, love the fact that it has a little built-in inset frame too. It is a 16 by 20, which I think is a good size. Frames in general, I feel like are a little pricey, so I do like to thrift my frames for that reason. And $4.99 for this size frame, I think is actually pretty good. Okay, next up is this marble pillar candlestick holder. At least that's what I'm assuming it is. Let's see if we read the bottom. Oh yes, it is. This one was really cool. I think it would be great to use as a pillow candlestick holder, but truthfully, I was just drawn to the shape. I think I want to style it without anything on it. I think it looks really cool as is. It kind of reminds me of an hourglass, but it's also a substantial piece that you could use it as a bookend to. All in all, I am pretty happy with this one. Now this one was $7.99. Given the fact it is a natural stone, I'm gonna give it a pass and say that $7.99 is fair. Materials like this usually don't come cheap, so $7.99. Actually was really excited when I found this one though. Okay, and last but not least is this jug. It was funny because I literally checked out, was walking out of the store. Right when I was about to walk out of the store, I saw this out of the corner of my eye and I was just like, yes, I need it. The color is beautiful. It's a great neutral. I'm really in love with the shape though. I really love the shape. It's a very different style shape than what I usually grab. It has a little bit of a circle detail right here too, like a raised detail. Kind of looks like a necklace. And of course, this handle is adorable. It's a black wooden handle, although some of the finishing has started to fade, so I really kind of like that look. So this one was such an eye-catching piece to me that I had to go back in line and purchase it. And this one was $12.99. $12.99 I think is a pretty good price for this. I think it's worth it. It's a beautiful piece all around. So I will say this is probably going in my sister's makeover as well, which I will happily give to her. And hopefully she loves it as much as I do. I think it's a beautiful piece. Clearly I'm biased in the fact that I think it's so beautiful, but I think it's a great piece to have. And I'd say it fits well with a farmhouse, but very on trend on what people are gravitating towards when it comes to home decor. So obviously not much luck when it came to furniture, but home decor wise, I still think I did pretty good. But if you like this video or if you liked anything from the haul, definitely make sure you give it a thumbs up. But I want to say thank you so much for watching and thank you for thrifting with me. I hope you enjoyed it. And so I will see you in the next one. Bye. Aside from the end table and the coffee table for my sister's living room, nothing is like need ASAP. That was like the majority of the list. I don't know why I said that.